Good morning, my name is Josh from Cyclone Soz, and here is your weather forecast for March 1st, 2024. If you are brand new to the channel, then please consider subscribing and leave a like on the video while you're at it. You can see today we're going to be covering some thunderstorms in southeastern Queensland and northern New South Wales first, some of which could be severe. Then we're going to move up to far northern Queensland, where in the next 10 days we are expecting some moderate to heavy rainfall that could lead to accumulations above 500 millimetres up there, and then shifting the focus to the western part of the nation, with the Northern Territory and Western Australia copping tropical rainfall and strong thunderstorms over the coming couple of days. Perth could be in for a drenching this weekend. So starting things off with the thunderstorms in southeastern Queensland and New South Wales. You can see a moderate cold front is now starting to move across New South Wales right now. It's turned into a bit of a trough line. This cold front is currently situated in the Tasman Sea, and it is going to be promoting thunderstorm activity through New South Wales tonight, and then it'll be stronger thunderstorm activity on Saturday and Sunday night in the northern reaches of New South Wales and then into southeastern Queensland. On Sunday, these storms could be severe with heavy rainfall and damaging winds in southeastern Queensland, and there is also the risk of some heavy rainfall as we head up towards Bundaberg and the White Bay region. Taking a look at these storms more in depth, you can see some thunderstorms now starting to fire in New South Wales, some around Cobar, some around Griffith. And if we were to take a look at satellite imagery, you can already see there are some cloud activity starting to fire up around New South Wales, especially across the centre. And that's connected to this trough line / cold front that's moving into the Tasman Sea right now, which actually has some pretty good thunderstorms itself in the Tasman Sea, with some fairly decent and respectable convection there. So some strong storms moving through there. However, it's definitely going to be this afternoon for New South Wales, especially across parts of the centre where we could be seeing some thunderstorms, and maybe up towards the northern part as well. These thunderstorms won't be severe, they'll just be some weak pulse thunderstorms blowing up this afternoon and evening. It's going to start to get a little bit more gnarly by Saturday mid-morning and into early afternoon. We could be seeing some stronger thunderstorms far up north of Newcastle and Dubbo, and we're seeing those storms extend out towards Grafton and Coffs Harbour. You can already see some of these storms have the potential to go severe warned on Saturday afternoon, but I don't think that is going to be the case. And then as we get into Sunday, we're going to be seeing even more thunderstorms. Still, that's going to be connected to a low-pressure system and a low-pressure trough that's going to be extending across New South Wales. There'll be a lot of energy for these thunderstorms to really fire up over, and this is where we could be seeing some severe thunderstorms early Sunday afternoon into early Sunday evening, especially outside of Coffs Harbour and Grafton. We're seeing some pretty intense rainfall through here, 25 millimetres an hour on the forecast models. I would be surprised if we didn't have severe thunderstorm warnings active for parts of northern New South Wales at this time, but then again, thunderstorms are relatively unpredictable, and it will be tomorrow's forecast that really tells us what the deal is for Sunday. But expect some damaging winds and also some heavy rainfall in one or two places. They're not going to be world-ending thunderstorms, certainly not the strongest of the year, but still severe thunderstorms are severe thunderstorms, and for those in southeastern Queensland, you should be watching the forecast quite closely. However, it looks like they really fail to get deep into southeastern Queensland on Sunday. They get into the Brisbane metro area, or just outside of Brisbane into the Gold Coast, but they really don't do too much in terms of affecting Brisbane, which is some good news there, because that'd be quite annoying Sunday evening in terms of the thunderstorms that are expected to get up towards Brisbane. But still, there is a risk of areas outside of the Gold Coast into the Blue Mountains that could be receiving rainfall up to 50 millimetres from the passage of what could be a squall line at this point. Now, Monday, these storms do weaken off a little bit, but it's going to be them shifting further north that becomes a little bit more of a concern. You can see them heading up towards Bundaberg and Rockhampton and up towards the White Bay sort of area. A lot of rainfall could actually materialise out of these storms on Monday. The models do have a bit of a resolution drop as you start to get that far out, and we could be seeing rainfall accumulations over the next 5 days, including Monday, probably up towards 20 millimetres in some locations, and because they are thunderstorms, maybe up towards 50 millimetres in one or two spots just outside of Bundaberg and Gympie. Now, the forecast is still relatively uncertain in terms of peak rainfall that can be expected, and we'll know a little bit more by Saturday or Sunday. I'm not expecting strong, severe thunderstorms around the Bundaberg or Rockhampton area. There is still the chance we see some stronger than usual storm activity. One or two storms might go severe warned with damaging winds, and there will be a healthy amount of rainfall falling here. I think Bundaberg and Rockhampton, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, have missed out for the most part in terms of rainfall this wet season, but 20 millimetres, that's nothing to really look away at, so it could be some good rainfall on Sunday and into Monday. Now, I'm going to be shifting focus to far northern Queensland, where we're going to be having a strengthening low-pressure trough over the Coral Sea, driving plenty of moisture ashore, which you can see now in the forecast run, the preliminary forecast run. A lot of rainfall from about day 5 to day 10 will be driven ashore into the far northern Queensland area, and we could be seeing rainfall accumulations approach 200 to 300 millimetres of places. And this will likely result in heavier than average rainfall accumulations, as I said, up to 200 to 300 millimetres, and maybe one or two spots deeper into the mountains up here, up to 500 millimetres. So the risk of moderate to major flooding is certainly there. And let's break it down with the forecast right now. You can see we could be seeing quite a substantial amount of rainfall in terms of accumulation up towards the 5 days. Up to 100 millimetres extra is expected from the on top of the rainfall that we're already seeing right now. Some places just outside of Cairns could be seeing up to 150 millimetres over the next 5 days, but it's going to be the next 10 days that really kind of sell the show right now. And it's not so much the Eastern Relief or the GFS that's expecting this rainfall, it's more so the Access G3. And being a convective model, you can kind of get away with trusting it for rainfall forecasts like this. It's quite irresponsible for tropical cyclones, but for rainfall, it is relatively reliable. So I think it's going to be starting by around Wednesday. We're going to be seeing this sort of trough extend north of this low pressure system and connecting to this low pressure system over Arnhem Land in the Northern Territory. That actually has a very slim chance of becoming a tropical cyclone, mind you, so we might give that a little bit of attention towards the end of the video. But you can see it's going to be this onshore flow for all of Wednesday, all of Thursday, and all of Friday, where we're seeing nothing heavy, nothing ridiculous in terms of rainfall, but it's just this 10 to 15 millimetres an hour, and it does not stop. It gets itself right up into the coastline here. It's going to jam itself between the mountains. I do believe places between Cardwell and Cairns will be drier than places between Cairns and Cooktown. I think areas around the Daintree rainforest and up towards Port Douglas and Mossman could be picking up quite a lot more rainfall than areas around Innisfail and Tully. That's just the setup that we have right now, but again, things can change, and yeah, just a lot of rainfall all around is expected here, and it's these red blobs here that really do concern me when we're seeing this a very isolated but very heavy rainfall start to move ashore here. That's pretty typical on this part of the Queensland coastline, because it's really mountainous, and you've got mountains that go up to about a kilometre or two in height along this coastal stretch through here. The rainfall, it's just got no way to move through it, so the clouds get themselves jammed up there, and they've got no choice but to dump their contents, and that's how you get the wettest place in Australia through here. It's a combination of this onshore flow type weather patterns that happen all the time. They're very much like atmospheric rivers that the western coast of the United States gets. And then that rainfall just gets jammed up against the mountains, and the clouds have no choice but to basically drop their entire fill. And that's basically, I think that's called the... what is it? I'm not sure of the scientific name for the phenomenon, but it does happen around basically every mountain that has a coastal face to it. It's very common. It happens with the Himalayas as well, and that's how Nepal is so wet of a nation, even though it's in places many thousands of kilometres away from a coastline. So just to top that all off, rainfall accumulations could definitely be on the higher end, up to 400 millimetres for some locations. Innisfail up to 400 millimetres. Port Douglas as well up to 420 millimetres. A lot of rainfall is expected, and I do believe the model resolution is letting us down here. There will be places in an event like this where there's widespread 300 to 400 millimetres that pick up to 750 millimetres. Blend and Kerr actually has me quite worried here, because I mean they've already had 1,500 2,000 millimetres from Cyclone Jasper and about 1,000 or 2,000 millimetres since, so you're talking about 4,000 to 5,000 millimetres. An extra 1,000 millimetres really does push them into the risk of having some really bad landslide and structural problems as a big hill as we get later on into this wet season. It has been very wet up around the Cairns area. Typical wet season activity of about 50 years ago, but considering the rainfalls are becoming more and more unpredictable because our cyclone activity has been in the toilet this tropical cyclone season, it is certainly starting to feel a little bit weird in terms of the weather patterns up here. But yeah, a lot of rainfall is expected. There is the risk of flooding, the risk of flash flooding as well, but it's going to be happening between sort of Wednesday and I'd guess Saturday and Sunday next week. It does actually pick up towards Saturday, but it should start to ease off by around Sunday by the looks of things, hopefully. Yeah, it looks like Thursday to Sunday next week is going to be the go time for this amount of rainfall. So 4 days, up to 700 millimetres expected or possible. That's a lot of rainfall. Shifting our focus over west, you can see a lot of storm activity firing up across Western Australia, parts of the Northern Territory, and then into the South Australian region as well. And this is because of a slow-moving tropical low. It's traversing the north of the nation and enhancing storm activity and rainfall throughout large areas of Western Australia and the Northern Territory this weekend. And it will likely bring some rainfall to Perth, some decent rainfall to Perth and surrounds as well. The Wheatbelt area might get up to 50 millimetres in one or two spots before this moves into South Australia next week. And yeah, you can see already on the forecast models there's some thunderstorms initialized over Norseman and that sort of area right about now. Nothing too crazy in terms of thunderstorm activity there, and I don't think the forecast models have got it right with the satellite picture, but yeah, there's one or two lightning strikes north of Esperance around Salmon Gums, and this should only pick up throughout today. We can be expecting more rainfall as the day goes on, especially through parts of the Great Southern region, and then up towards the Goldfields as well, and then into the Pilbara and the Kimberley region. The rainfall has certainly eased off in terms of its volume from the last couple of days. We've been seeing consistent rainfall totals above 100 millimetres, but it's definitely starting to increase the thunderstorm activity, and that's only going to get worse throughout Saturday. Now, what's really got me interested is this northeasterly flow off the desert areas of Western Australia, but we're going to be seeing this trough line start to wrap itself up around Perth from tonight, and that's going to be promoting thunderstorm activity, at least for the southern suburbs, and then into the Wheatbelt region as well from Saturday onwards, and then that will really pick up from Saturday night as well. So it looks like tomorrow could be very stormy indeed for Perth. And yesterday I showed you what convective available potential energy, or CAPE, is. Now, CAPE basically means how much energy is in the atmosphere for thunderstorms. Typically when you're starting to see greens, thunderstorms start to get really likely, and greens are unheard of for Perth. Perth thunderstorms are very much quite unpredictable weather events. And I mean, as we play this backwards on Saturday and then play it forwards again, you can see it looks like a very favourable environment, a very favourable atmosphere for thunderstorms on Saturday and Sunday. In fact, very, very favourable Sunday night. You're seeing tropical values through here, so it's going to feel quite tropical indeed for Perth. And I'm just hoping that this expected rainfall that we get takes the heat off, or takes the edge of the heat off, because 32 and near 100% humidity, that's going to be very uncomfortable for Perth Saturday and Sunday. Not looking forward to that if that's actually going to be the case, because I am well and truly fed up with this hot weather. I think I've said that enough in these videos. Now, what is very interesting here is this is going to be associated with also a low pressure system, a cold front essentially. We're going to have this very, very weak low pressure system south of sort of Augusta and Cape Naturalist and Albany and so forth, and that is actually going to be wrapping up some cold air and some showery conditions on the back side of the system, and that's going to be driven into Perth by the looks of things on Monday, and it could actually call for a very cool day on Monday where we only see a daytime maximum of around 23 or 24 degrees. That's going to feel brutally cold compared to the hot weather that we've already been having, so that's going to be quite interesting to watch as well. So to recap that, strong thunderstorms expected around Perth and also parts of Western Australia. I feel like I've completely neglected the rest of Western Australia, so I'll zoom this out and play it through. Strong thunderstorms throughout Perth and Western Australia on Saturday evening. By the looks of things, they really do pick themselves up around Perth on Saturday evening, and then it's going to be very early Sunday morning. We see these thunderstorms start to really develop around the Perth area and then move into the deeper part of Western Australia as well. And then they really do move through Western Australia. They get really quite gnarly across the northern parts of Western Australia, into the Goldfields and also up towards the Gascoyne and the Pilbara region as well. But they basically affect a population of maybe 10,000. We're talking a huge swathe of desert that has pretty much zero inhabitants. So these thunderstorms are kind of meaningless on the forecast, and they are also very frequent occurrences up here. But it's definitely going to be the stormiest week for Western Australia for the year by the looks of things, until Monday, until we get this cold front that looks like it's going to try and take the edge off the heat, which is great, and it is very much welcome indeed. And I don't think the heat really recovers from there. I'm checking and I'm only seeing what looks like maybe 25 to 30 degree day maximas until March the 10th, which is some great news there. Before I go, I'd like to give a special shout out to the Cyclone Soul sponsors listed on screen right now over a beautiful photo of Rocky Bay, Narrowneck at Rottnest Island, taken on September 21st, 2023. Love this photo so much. It was one of my favourites when I took it. Beautiful shot of the boat and also the crystal clear water as well. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. It's been great having your company this Friday morning. Have a great day, and I will catch you all in the next storm. Goodbye.